Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and we're here once again with a mass make, and this time I'm going to be doing faux postage stamps because I use them a lot, and I'll show you some examples of mine as we go along. Now, before you go, oh, Ceri's going to be using one of those Fiskars postal stamp edged scissors, one of these. Yes I am, but I'm also going to be using a pinking shears, and I'm going to show you a different way to use the pinking shears, and we're also going to look at alternatives to get an edge that could resemble a stamp, should we say. Okay, so don't go, oh, I can't do that. You can do that. Let's wait till we get to the point where I do the edges and then make that decision, because I'm calling them a faux postage stamp, but to be honest, they're just an interesting little topper. Let's take this out the way. Okay, so what sort of things am I looking to create? Okay, let's pull in my ephemera thing, which has got stuff in. Okay, this sort of stuff, I use these a lot as toppers on journal cards and stuff like this. And the images I've used for these are, where's that book gone? Things out of little books like this, the Observer's Book of Wildflowers, there you go. Those are the images I've taken out, and then I've turned them into postage stamps, and I can tell you one of these books will give you several hundred of these. So I tend to just mass make them, and as you can see, I've got them all in my folio here, and I've got some that actually haven't been finished yet, and I've got some other images from another book ready to go when I need them. There they are. Okay. I was doing a fisherman's journal a little while back, so I made some for fish as well. So it's just any subject on any image you've got that will fit into that sort of format. But as you can tell, it doesn't have to be a set size. The size is dictated by you. And oh, here we go. These are the ones I use a lot. These were actually made with napkins, which is not what we're doing today, but as you can see, they're still postage stamp style. I do use them. I use them a lot. I mean, this one hasn't got a postage stamp edge. This is just a torn edge, so you'll know how I get to do these. But I use these a lot. They're very, very quick elements to add to a tag or a journal card or even a birthday card. Just gives you something as a bit of a topper. So let's move this to one side and get on with it, shall we? So, first of all, I'm going to use some, where are they? Book pages. Now, I, for this, prefer to use book pages that are whiter, that are newer, because the moment I start using a vintage book page, everything I put onto the page takes on the colour behind it, therefore it can make it a little more mute. Now, that may be exactly what you're looking for, and if you are, go for it and choose that paper. The other thing is, this paper's quite fragile, this paper's quite new, not a problem. That's just what I prefer to use. So use whatever's around you. If you don't have book page, just get newspaper. Newspaper will work for this as well. So, right, I'm going to bring in a glue book, and I've got a glue stick somewhere. Where's my glue stick gone? Oh, glue stick at the ready. Oh, it's a new, oh wait, no, I've already got a used glue stick. So I did my prep and then I've forgotten what I prepped. So I've got a glue stick, I've got a glue book, I've got a plastic smoother. This could be a piece of card as well. And then what am I going to use to create my images with? Well, for this exercise, if I'm not using little images I've taken from books or stamped images, I'm going to use washi tape images. So I'm just going to show you some of the ones I use and tell you the reasons I use them. Okay, a while ago I came across these washi tapes, which are actually on a backing, but those are great and I use them all the time, and it's one complete strip. You've got to peel the backing off. We'll be using those. Things like stamps. I mean, this is washi tape full of stamps. But if I use this, and I'll show you how to use it, I can cut pieces out of this and make interesting little vintage stamps. Something like this washi here, which is a wider washi. If I can get, why can't I get it to do what I need it to do? Why is it everything sticky in my life is a problem? Come on, you can do this, Griffiths. And it's a new washi, it's not an old washi. So as you can see, there's lots of elements on there. So the technique I'm going to use, you will see that you can use these tapes as well. It'll give you more of an abstract postage stamp or postage style topper, but it's still a good one. Things like this, where you've got different elements separated, this is also a really good one to use. So just look in your stash. If you've got washi tape, then these are the sort of things you look for. Again, that sort of style. And then, oops, one I use quite often, which I know is more than readily available on the market, is this one, which is like advertisements and stuff in. We're going to take some of these and turn these into washi style stamps as well. So, okay, let's just start the ball rolling and do a bit of announcement. I've got, this one's a bit shorter than the others, so I'm going to do that one last. And I'm going to do a bit of gluing and sticking before we even start, just to get the ball rolling. Now, I don't trust washi tape. As a lot of people who know me know, I don't trust washi tape. So for me, I always stick it down with a bit of glue sticks. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to take some of these images. Take the lid off my glue would help. Take some of these images and give them a coating of glue on the back. And we're going to do maybe a page of each style, should I say, because I honestly do need to build up my stash as well. So I'm using this opportunity to not only work with you on this, but work in creating stuff myself. Now, there are two options. I've put that and the leaves are going this way because the text are going this way. I can, if I wish, go this way, but what I need to do, because I've got this size page and I've already used half of it, is I would have to do it individually to make this way work. I can, however, do it as full strips, which we'll do on the next one, onto the, what's this shape called? Portrait style pages. So let's just do this. When it comes to things like leaves and foliage that have no real direction, I'm not really overly bothered with which direction I put stuff in. And also they can be on odd angles. It doesn't really matter. So let's just finish this one off with two more going down that way. And then we'll get rid of this washi and start on the next one. There you go. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, what have you actually wasted? You've just wasted a little bit of washi tape and some time and effort. Right, I think I'm due for a new glue page. All glue pages go to be recycled. Right, then we'll go on to this one. Right, let's pull out the other one that was similar to it. Now I'm going to go crosswise on here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure, if I can, I'm going to put that gap in the text in the middle. That may not always work, but I'm going to give it a go. And if I have to sacrifice part of a leaf or part of a plant along the way, again, I'm not worried. Washi tape isn't that expensive, and I can get quite a bit out of it. And to be honest, there are some stunning washi tapes out there. So always keep your eye open if there's a sale going on, or if you find a favourite supplier for washi tape, grab whatever washi tape you can. It's not going to go off. I mean, sometimes if you've kept it years and years and years, it becomes a little brittle. But there are methods, apparently, of softening it up again. My washi tape never gets old because I use it all the time. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of a gap between. As you can see, I'm trying to place it so I'm not having too much of that whiteness on the stamp. I don't mind on the edge, but not the whole thing. So let's do a few of these. Now, when it comes to cutting these up, which is another stage of this video, I'm going to show you how I cut up one or two, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you and I'm going to sit down and cut them all out, because to be honest with you, that's a boring stage you don't need to watch. Okay, and then I'm going to do that with a couple of the stages. I'll show you it once or twice, and then I will get on and do it myself, purely because I don't want this video to be a million years long. A little bit of an exaggeration, I know, but I mean, I don't know about you, but when I watch videos with repeated processes on them, I'm either fast forwarding through that, or I'm going, you know what, just get on with it. I mean, a bit like this, to be honest with you. Right, I'm just going to do one more of these strips. Let's fold that one over because this is getting a bit sticky. One more of these strips, and then we're going to be okay. And we'll move on to the next washi that we're going to do. So these are non-directional in that it doesn't matter in which way they point. They can go this way or that way. So that's that one done. Washi number 2 done. So let's get a clean book page. Again, into the box for recycling. Where am I up to? Right, butterflies. Now, these have got a back on them, and I find it really hard to get the backs off. So I'm going to show you what I do to get the backs off, but I'm going to tear this into lengths that are roughly the right length. I think I've done it with a couple of these already. I think this one's the other one that's a bit long. So let's take the top one off because I've already damaged the top of his wings at some point. So let's take that out of the way. And I think I'm going to need to take one butterfly off the bottom, but he can be added somewhere else anyway. Butterflies never go to waste in my life, I can assure you. Now, I struggle with the backing, so what I tend to do is I tend to take a bit of sticky tape. This is just a method that works for me. Anyone who knows me knows that I really struggle getting backs off labels and stuff, and this is the only way so far. And thank you to all my followers who have suggested umpteen different ways. But by having a bit of a backing where the tape is, I can just rub against this and it does lift off for me. There you go. Just a method that works for me. It may not work for you. It may be something you're going, well, that's pointless, I don't do that. Completely up to you. I just struggle, and I don't know why I struggle. Maybe it's because I'm a guy and I don't keep my fingernails long, so I can't actually catch edges of stuff. I don't know why it happens. I like using this style of washi tape because there are no edges to it, except obviously the outside edges, and everything on here is white, and as you can see, the background just soaks up that whiteness. Now, the thing is, if I was using a vintage style paper, then that wouldn't happen. I would see almost a ghosting, maybe a little bit of a misty surround, but then we're cutting them to about that edge anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So pop that one in there. I'm trying to line it up with the edges of the text purely because if you're going to put the background on an angle, put it on an angle. If you're going to actually just stick them on badly, it doesn't look like it's something that was a design decision. It just looks like something that you've just thrown on a page and really didn't care about. So I tend to try and work in verticals and horizontals when it comes to text, purely because it annoys me, but then I am OCD. And I think when you're looking at a design that someone has done, if things are all haphazard and not intentionally haphazard, I have to say, because there are some designs that work perfectly well at angles, I find it just jars my liking of the piece, should we say, because it wasn't meant to be on an angle. And yet someone hasn't been bothered to do it correctly and just put it on there. But then in saying that, there are no rules in what we do. We're artists. So if you choose to put it on an angle, your choice entirely. I'm not here to say you can or you can't. I'm just saying what personally doesn't work for me. And it doesn't work for me. There's sort of an arty reason why you don't put things on an angle, because it tends to lead the eye out of the piece of art. So if I've got something on this eye, you'll look up that way and it'll take you away from the focal point. I wasn't trained in art other than my basic schooling, so it's just something I've heard over the time and I'm repeating to you. So hopefully it's correct. I mean, you never know. There might be an illustrator watching this going, yeah, I know about that. Right, so we've done the butterfly ones. Obviously, these are definitely a mass make thing. So clean book page again. Okay, I've only got 2 to go, guys, and this one should be really quick because it's entire strips and we're only doing 1 page of these. Right, so first things first, let's get rid of this bit where I struggled to tear it off the roll. That's the only trouble I have sometimes with these wider ones, is starting the roll to start with. And up you come. Right, I think if I tear it about there, and as always, as I said, I'm going to come in with my glue stick just to glue it down. Now, if you really weren't bothered, these washi tapes do stick to paper. I'm just worried that one day they're just going to peel off, and that wouldn't be very good, would it? So I'm just going to come up and line that up against the edge of my text. Get a smooth down. Now obviously if you were someone doing quick junk journal cards or tags, you could just cut that out as a tag shape and you've got a tag made already. So don't ever look past those things and think, oh, what can I do? I'm stuck for time. Get yourself some wide washi and use it in that manner. Just it's a background waiting to happen when it comes to the wide washi. And I do know you can get really wide washi. I think you can get almost washi sheets, as in like A5 sheets of washi. I've never found them, and which is a bit of a pity, and I've never had an opportunity to use them. So, but I have seen other artists use them. Right, so that's that one done. Right, now onto this one is going to be the same sort of process. When it comes to, that's okay, when it comes to using this sort of washi, it's a bit hit and miss as to which sections fall over the text you're using. So don't get hung up on lining it up. Just literally just stick it down, and when it comes to working with the scissors is when you need to worry about where you're cutting. So let's just lay that down on there. There is text in the background and there's text on the front as well. Does that bother me? Nope, not at all. It's this stamp isn't meant to be a focal point. It's going to be a topper. It's going to be an element on something. It may be used in a mixed media spread. It may be on a journal card. It could be anywhere. So I'm just going to put these down and I'll decide whether it's appropriate for my artistic piece when I'm doing it, when I'm actually doing it. So I'm just going to do one more page of that. Let's get rid of those 2 pages because we're not going to be using those. I don't want to bore you to death with this, but I do want to make enough so that I've actually got enough to use what I need. So hopefully everyone's okay out there. What's the date today? I want to say it's about the 26th or 20, I think it's the 27th of November when I'm filming this. So I can't remember exactly. I think this is going to be released in December, this video. But it's not a nice day out there. Seriously, not a nice day out there. We've got really strong winds and gales, and parts of Britain have woken up to the first snows of the year. So a friend of mine who lives in Nottingham, she sent me some images this morning, and her dogs won't go out in the garden because seriously she's got a few inches of snow out there. Okay, so the gluing for now is done. Let me just clear the decks of this, put these spare pages into the box. We will go back to gluing in a little while, but now I want to bring these in, and I'm just going to do a quick explanation as to how I cut and why I cut, where I cut, if all of that makes sense. Let's get a good pair of scissors out. So let's start with the very first ones. So when it comes to this, as you may or may not be able to see, there is an edge to the washi. You don't need to follow that, but I very often do. So I will come in and I will cut right between the images, and I'll just take that one off because I can just work on that. And then where I see the edge of the washi, I use that as my guide because I'm not the best person at cutting a straight line. And another reason I like text is because I can cut along the top of the text, and I've made myself a little square with an image in it. Okay, so that's number one. Now, as I said, I'm going to stop the video and cut all of these later. This one will be treated in the same way. Okay, butterflies. Now, again, I need to cut midway between. I will use the text to actually help guide me. I can see the edge of the washi tape, so I will cut up the side of the washi tape. Let's put that over there. Again, I will use the text to line up. Now, you could use a guillotine, you could use a trimmer for all of this. I just find that I'm a bit quicker with the scissors, to be honest. Again, that's the second one. I look like I've gone off on an angle there. Okay, also, I'm not looking for absolute perfection. It's not the aim of the game here. I'm just trying to find pieces I can use. Right, this is something we need to look at. Okay, now on here, there's a join in the design. I don't think you can see it. I would naturally cut up that join, and then I would cut down the side of the washi. Let's cut in this direction. So cutting the side of the direction. Also, there's another join there. So if I come down here and take off the edge. Now I've got to this point, I'm going to probably cut right down there. It's not got an air bubble in it. I'm going to cut right down there because to me, that gives me a really nice stamp sort of thing. I'll trim this because I don't think I cut that the straightest it could have been. So there you go. That's another image ready for me to go. Now, when it comes to this one, I've missed the washi tape on the corner there, but I don't actually mind. I'm going to leave that there because I'm probably going to ink that anyway. So that will be how I will cut these up. Where are we up to on this one? Okay. With this one, I normally just go in and I cut straight up the side of the washi. So I've got this in a strip. And pop that over there and cut straight down the side of here. So I've got the washi in the strip. I'm not hugely pedantic about it, but now when it comes to this, so I've missed the edge there, but if I come in here and I come in here, I've isolated that advertisement and that will make a really cute vintage stamp. Again, what have I got here? Right, trim along the bottom line, so the washi gives me the help to trim that. I would say that probably belongs to this advertisement. I'm going to trim down the side slightly. I don't need all this space there, so I'm just going to trim up the side there. That gives me another image. So I think I'm going to trim this a little bit further here. Okay, that's another image. Let's do one more. Now, I think those are two separate ones, so I could come in and slice across there, but to be honest, I would rather have this advertisement than the one below it. So I'm just going to trim that, and I think I'm going to leave this as, no, actually I'm going to cut across here. So that gives me another image that I can use. Slice that off. This gives me a smaller one. I'm not going to make that into a postage stamp, but I'm going to throw it into my little ephemera box because it's something I can stick on something. So where's my pattern drawer? I've got a drawer full of pattern papers. I'm just going to throw it in there because I don't want to waste washi. Now with this one, I missed at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the bit I missed and I'm going to cut just on the inside of this line and save this one so I can use this image. So as you can see, that's how I sort of isolate the images off these. So I'm going to pause you now, and then I'm going to go and cut all of these out, and then we're going to move on to the next stage. I will see you in a moment. Hi guys, I'm back again. Well, apologies, I didn't realise that I'd actually missed doing this washi onto the book page, so I've done some of those anyway. You saw the process, it was exactly the same. Peel it off, stick it down, put it onto the book page, and that's prepared. So that was the washi I missed. So as you can see, I've now cut all of these out, and everything from the little tickets to the butterflies to the foliage pieces. I mean, some of them look a bit blank, like that one's okay. But this one looks a bit as if there's nothing on it. However, there's colour and there's some text on there. I could stamp a word on top of that when it becomes a stamp. So my next step, well, actually I want to show you the bigger ones. Okay, some of these lent themselves to be larger pieces. Like that one's really large. I would definitely put a stamp a word or something into that. So these are all ready to go. Now we need to move on to the next stage. I mean, some of the advertisements look really cute when they're done. So even if you don't turn them into postage stamps, this is another way to make little elements for your ephemera. Okay, so even if you stop there, you've done mass make, you've now got toppers, elements, bits you can put on, little bits that are just those little bits of interest on a tag, on a label, on a corner of a page. I mean, just anything like that is ready to go. So the next bit of the process is I'm going to pull in, now this is my drawer of bits of scrap coffee dyed paper, or this is where the odd bits of ends of pages that get torn up go to dye. Okay, so I'm looking for things like book page ends, or I mean, there you go, there's some lighter ones. I don't mind lighter. I don't mind coffee dyed. These are like the cover pages when I gut a book. You'll always find these at the front and the end of a book. It's another good one to use. Let's see if I've got, there you go, I've got some offcuts of coffee dyed. Some a bit of a root round in here. So this sort of stuff, the stuff that's been in the box for ages that you don't tend to get around to, that sort of stuff is what I'm digging for. Now I'm using that. You could be using any paper you wish. You could do them on white. Like, okay, there's the end of a book that's got some coffee dyed on it. Then that's another bit to go. So I'm going to put this to one side. We're going to start working on these. Now, at this point, I'm going to show you one or two, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the whole lot without you and then come back when they're done. Because as I said, I want this to not be a million miles long. I do apologise for the sun. The winter sun comes and goes, and we welcome it when it arrives. So let's take just a regular piece of this. Now, what I would warn is if you're sticking something down, you need to have room around it. If you're sticking several somethings down, like say I put that and come to me and that on the same piece of paper, leave ample room between them, because once you cut it, you don't want to cut it and then endanger the edge of the other one, if that makes sense. So if I've got a piece that's a large piece like this, I'm just going to put that one piece on there, but I'm not in this instance because I think I'd like it to be on a bit of a coffee dyed area because I think it stands out now. It's up to you whether you use vintage photo distressing, which I like to use, and I just catch the absolute edge of the image and it almost gives it a little bit of framing before I sit it onto the stamp. So let's just get this one stuck down, and then we'll look at doing one or two of the little ones as well, just so you can see what I mean by getting all of the spacing right. Now I'm just using a glue stick for this because I always use a glue stick for this. It's never let me down in the past, so I'm not going to worry about it. If I put it on that way, I'll actually have room for another one. Now, the other thing I want to say too is I'm not the first person to have done faux postage stamps. I'm not going to be the last person who does it. There are lots and lots and lots of videos out there showing you how to do them, because you can do them with tissue paper, you can do them with stamping, you can do them with napkins. I would suggest having a really good look and seeing what is already out there and seeing whether it fits in with the stash of stuff you already have, because you don't need to go around buying a whole load of new equipment to do this. You just need to do it. So yeah, have a good search. If you search on YouTube for faux postage stamps, and faux is spelled F-A-U-X, or the other one to look for is possibly postage stamp ephemera. Anything like that will probably bring up. Am I going to have enough room if I do that? Yes, I am. I'll have enough room if I do that. Will probably bring up enough videos for you to watch. Right, so I'm just going to keep on doing that all the way through these. Some will I will do the vintage photo on the edge, some I won't, but I'm going to stick them on there and I won't cut them up until I come back to you. So bear with me a second, I need to get this bit done. So here you go, guys. I've stuck them all down. As you can see, I've left plenty of space between the individual pieces. I don't care whether they're straight, it doesn't matter, because they're all going to be cut around or finished around anyway. But now I'm going to start the next process of turning them into something that looks a little bit more like a postage stamp. And we're not cutting yet, but if you're waiting for the little tip I've got for using a pinking shears, it's going to be after this section, okay? So there you go. So we've got those. So I'm going to bring in a couple of book pages just to protect my mat here. Actually, I'm going to put a bit of wash on these so they don't fly around all over the place. Where's the end of the washi? Me and the end of washi, I tell you. Me and the end of any tape, to be honest with you. Just bring a little washi in and just hold the pages together so that when I'm doing the next stage, I don't want my grey mat messed up. I go through lots of these mats. I tend to get really enthusiastic, and before I know it, I've got ink and paint and everything all over the place. Right, I'm going to be using archival. I nearly always use black archival for this. I suppose you could use sepia or something, but I just always use black archival. I've got this set of postage franking stamps, no idea where they came from, and I'm going to use two of them. I'm going to use this one that's got the wavy line, and I'm going to use one of the little round ones. Now I want to say, well, I want to say I definitely bought these on the internet, but I don't know where on the internet I bought them. I don't ever keep the packaging because I repackage them, and usually I'll break sets up so that in the package will be everything franking. I think this was a complete set, however, but sorry, don't know where it came from. And I'm going to use a little acrylic block. Now, first of all, I'm going to stamp all of the wavy lines, then I'm going to go in with the little round stamp afterwards. So put those to one side, pick this up. Now, I do this quite quickly anyway, but I'm not going to turn the video off. I'm going to let the video run, but I'm going to fast forward it. Now, if there's someone out there going, I haven't got those stamps, I can't do this, let me just tell you something different. So, if I pull in a fine marker pen, okay, let's just do it here on this bit here. Okay, really, who can't draw a few wavy lines? Okay, so I can draw wavy lines. Circles, does it have to be a perfect circle? No, and just put some dots or something in it. It's a quick way just to give that image of, or not stamp it at all, or stamp it with something that isn't even a postage frank. It's just a something, like maybe you've got a small letter stamp or a small number stamp, and just go in and do that. I mean, let's have a look. I've got one of these stamps. I mean, if I do this, I could come in and stamp that across the edge of my stamp. So across the edge of my stamp, and that will look like some sort of frank that's been done. So don't get hung up on it has to look like a postage stamp. It's giving the impression of a postage stamp. So from this point on, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to stamp all of these on all of them and then stamp the circles. Some I will stamp, some I won't stamp. So it'll be completely, you'll see me miss a few, but don't worry about that. So I'm going to start and we'll speed this up, guys. So as you can see, that's them done. Now, it was absolutely obvious to anyone who was watching, I really didn't care where I put it. And the reason for that is, I don't know what the postal system is like in your country, but in my country, the postal system doesn't really care. I mean, if they're hand franked anymore, they just basically stamp them wherever the heck they want them. So there you go. So that's that bit done, and they're beginning to look a little bit more like stamps. So let's now look at the bit where we want to find out how do we actually turn them into what we want to turn them into. So first things first, we don't always have to have a pair of scissors that has got an edge to it. So let's just do this and cut just a really neat frame around the element that I've put in there. And this may not be 100% an authentic looking postage stamp. I need to pull that down a bit. But you know what? That's a nice little topper. And if I came in with a little bit of vintage photo, which I don't always do, just caught the edges of that, that's a nice little element that could be added to a piece of ephemera. Okay, so we don't need to have stamped edges on faux stamps. Okay, that's number one. Number two, let's pull one out that I can get to quite easily. Let me see. Let's pull this one up. Okay. We don't need to actually cut. We could tear. So I could come in with my tear ruler and tear along the edges. I probably went a bit too close to that one, but let's just do one of these so you can see a better version of it. Let's put you to one side. So as you can see, I'm just coming in with the tear ruler and just tearing around the edges, and I'll end up with sort of a raggedy edge stamp. Again, if I put some vintage photo on that, it may not be a postage stamp, but you know what, the fact that it's franked and it's this shape, it gives the impression of a postage stamp. So that's another option you can use. Let's just get the scraps off my table. Okay, let's choose this one. No, that was one I just did wrong. Let's use this one. So now these are the Fisker scissors. It took me quite a long time before I found a pair of these. I'm sure they still make them, but I think you'll find they're actually made in sets, in kits. So you have to buy a whole set of edged scissors to actually get the ones that you want, which are these ones. And there is a decal edge scissors as well, which some people find very useful. So there you go. So that gives me my stamped edge. I particularly like doing the butterflies with these. So let's just do a butterfly one to show you. There you go. Sorry, loud noise. Sometimes if you open them too far, they don't line back up properly. Just tear this so I can get into it with the scissors. That's another reason why I don't like to stick things too close together, because if I need to tear to get into the design, I need space to be able to tear. So as you can see, that gives me a really nice postage stamp look. Right, now the one you've all been wanting me to show you. Pair of pinking scissors, right? This is a pair of tonic pinking scissors. I do know that some dressmaking scissors have more of a scallop than a pointed edge to it. So just know that there are different sorts out there. So let's just take this one stamp out of here, because I want to try and get close to the camera for what I'm doing. And in doing so, I want you to be able to see really close to what I'm doing. So I'm going to come in with the pinking shears or pinking scissors and cut as you're expecting me to cut. Okay? There you go. Now, it does give a very different look to a postage stamp edge. And I get it. I really do get it. And sometimes when you're doing a smaller stamp, it doesn't look very nice. So what I tend to do is I cut them twice. So as you can see, that's where I cut it originally. If I come back a bit so the point of the pinking scissors cuts the points again, I end up with a double cut. And although it's not perfect, it does downsize the, I missed that one. It does downsize that edge. So if I then come in and vintage photo that, it's not a perfect stamp edge, as we know, but it's a lot nicer to look at than the larger stamping bits. So let's pull in another one. Let's do that one more time. So I cut the original one. Now I give myself quite a bit of space on the edges. and then I'm going to come in again. So if that was where the original cut was, if I come back halfway so that it cuts the peaks off, it'll cut all of those little peaks off for you, and it'll almost double the amount of points. It would if you did it right, Griffiths. There you go. It doubles the amount of little serrations you've got on the edge. I'm only vintage photoing it just to show you what it looks like, guys. So there you go. So that's how I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, cut all of these. I'm probably going to use my Fiskars postal scissors because I've got them. I'm going to do that, and then we're going to see whether I can use one of these up on some ephemera just so you can see what they look like. So here we are back again, and as you can see, I've cut them all out, and this has just given me a really nice little stash of postage type stamps or postage style pieces and elements. I mean, even those little tickets, look, that looks really cute now. I mean, you could have done this onto sticker paper and made them into stickers as well. Don't forget that. But I mean, this just builds up a bit of a stash. I mean, just something as simple as that is really cute. Just to be used. And there's one of those advertisements. Just things that you can use for decorating ephemera. And on that note, let's pull in some ephemera and see whether I can do a really quick little make of something for you to have a look at. So I pulled in a few pieces of ephemera, just a couple of tags and a couple of backgrounds, and you've probably seen me make these in other mass makes. So let's see what I can do with this, and I pulled in a few little numbers and little phrases and words and stuff. I'm not sure what I'm doing, I'm just going to do stuff. So, right, let's pull in one of these. Now I did like, where has it gone? There was one of these I really, really liked. I really loved that one, and I think if that goes on, actually that goes on there, it might look really nice. Now this one, now I didn't distress much around the edge of these as I went because I was trying to save time. I didn't want to waste your time by watching me ink. So I'm just going to put the edging on here. There you go, that's the edging on there. Now I think I've got the word, actually I can see it from here. I've got the word foliage in here. Oh no, it's flowers. I thought there was foliage in here. Oh, there is foliage. Right, let's tip these out because I'm going to drive myself insane otherwise. So, right, there's the word foliage. I think I'm going to try and tear all of that. So cross your fingers for me, guys, because this isn't always an easy job. The trick is to keep the pressure on as you're tearing and then move your fingers down as you tear so that the paper doesn't slip out. Trouble is, if you've got fingers the size of mine, it's not the easiest job in the world. Right, there you go. So I've got that done. Let's take that out of the way. I'm going to just tear the ends of this off because I don't mind the ends being a different sort of kind of shape. Yes, I do need to just put a bit of vintage on there. I have no idea how long this video is, guys, so I do apologise if it's run over a bit. I don't know because I haven't set a timer for it. Where's that glue stick gone? So, actually, I think I'm going to use art glitter glue for this, purely because I can, and it's going to give me a quicker adhesion than the glue stick is. So just a bit of art glitter on the back of there. I think I want to put it about there. Now, at some point in the future, I might put a button. Oh, actually, what about putting the word up there? I think the word up there is going to be fine. Right, that can just go on with a bit of glue stick. If you want to see how I do my backgrounds and stuff, by the way, have a look in Mass Makes, which is where this video is, and you're likely to see how I've done some of the backgrounds with different inks and things like that. So just give that a bit of a tickle up. Did I do the back? No, I'll cover the back another day if it needs covering, which it probably doesn't. It looks nice and clean. I think this needs a little something down here, so I've got some little numbers here. That might just be enough for this. Hopefully I'm in shot for all of this. Again, this can go on with glue stick. It's only paper. These little numbers are the numbers I found on the end of tickets or at the top of bingo cards and stuff like that. So there you go. That's one done and dusted, and I really love that. So let's bring in another tag. Let's see, I want something quite large because it is a largish one. Let's pull in a butterfly. That's the wrong colour butterfly. Sorry, I'm going to spread out and get a bit messy here because I want to root through here. I swore that I had pink butterflies in here, so I quite like that one anyway. I swore I had pink butterflies in this mix. I swear I did. Oh, there you go, this is the pink one I was thinking of. And I don't think it's the right one anyway. Right. I think by there will do. And again with the art glitter glue. This bottle of art glitter glue seems to be lasting me for absolutely ever. I must have bought the magic bottle because everything gets glued with it, but I just keep going and going and going. Right, do I want a word on this? Let's see, what's this say? Wild. I wonder whether I can tear this. This may be an exercise in patience. Just tear the word out. Actually, that's already torn. It's not that I don't like straight edges. I have no problem with straight edges, but sometimes it just doesn't look right. And on something like this, I don't think it looks right. So I think I want something behind it though. I quite like the fact there was a number. I wonder whether I just use one of these. Nope, that's too many stamp things. Right, let me have a quick look. I've got a box of numbers here. Again, numbers that I've done, so let's just put that on there. It's not a day to be indecisive. It's a day to get things done. So just a bit of glue on the back of that. Pop that down. Bit of a smooth out. This glue page is getting a bit sticky on me. Let's take that across there. Now I could use other stickers, I could use umpteen other things on this. I'm trying to just do something really quickly so that we've got examples of what can be done with the bits of ephemera that we've got. The stamps that we've got and the bits of ephemera we've got. So that's 2 tags done. Let's do one of these. Does that look a bit... I'd like something with a bit more colour. Let's do that one. Right, okay. So I want this... Okay, let's play with the idea that it is actually a postage stamp. That looks a bit busy up there. And I'm thinking of doing kind of a cluster with the stamps. So if I do a couple of little ones. Now there was one really cute little one in here that I had. You watch, I'm never going to be able to find it now. I don't think that was it. Maybe it just needs, if I do 2 of them in a cluster and then put something along there, I think. So let's just get the edges of this done. And the edges of this done, the advertisement. Then let's do some sticking down while I've got this on the go. Let's miss my fingers completely. And I don't mind the text over the top of the other text because it's different colours. Oops, I forgot to slip this one underneath. Am I going to get that up in time? Yes, peel that up. Whoa. Diverted. That's what happens when you try and work at speed. Let's slip that under there and pop that back down again. I think that was roughly what I wanted. And put a little bit more glitter glue under there. Just hold it down for a second. So, and I think I want to put a number across the top. What have I got written down on all of these? Do I want one of the little numbers or? Actually, that's quite cute. I don't exactly know what it means, but it's quite cute. Solutions to the puzzle, but that's going to bug me if I leave that there. So I'm going to have to do something. Actually, let's use this. No idea where this comes from. It's probably out of a book of some sort. Where's my glitter glue? Stick this down. That can just go up the side of there. Another bit of visual texture. It does cut the whole thing in part, but I don't mind that. Right, I am going to have to ink the sides of this Solutions to Puzzles words. I do tend to go through books when I'm gutting them or using them as glue pages, and I will actually take text and numbers like, okay, my glue book here says part 4. I would probably have ripped that number part 4 out just to have that in my stash of words or numbers, because to be honest, how often would I reach for part 4? And sometimes it's just enough to make it interesting. I'm going to put that across there. There you go. That's just an interesting bit of something. Right, let's have a bit of a tidy up, a look at what we've done, and then I think we're going to say goodbye. So hopefully this mass make has given you something of interest. Another idea, as I did say before, please do a search on the internet, because there's lots of other very clever variations of this. I tend to do mass makes where I can do things very quickly and make a mass of things for my ephemera. Now you might think, oh, it takes a bit of time to do a mass make. It does, but you know what? That bit of time actually saves you time when you come to do your ephemera pieces and that. I knew I had a pink one. There you go. So, and as you can see, it doesn't take much to turn a ready-made background into something. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully it was fun for you. And I will see you next time, I think. It just leaves me a couple of bits of business to do. Number one is, this is my social media. This is where you found me, find me, and will find me. A thumbs up, a subscription, a like is always welcome, along with a positive comment. And this is me. I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, bye-bye now.